guys, it's Ashley, and today I am doing a review and ramble of Scary Close by Donald Miller. This book comes recommended from a couple of my online groups and online friends, and a lot of people have really good things to say about it, so I had to pick it up. I have actually had this book for several months. I started it, I got like 20 pages in, and then put it down for months, and finally finished it in like a day, because it's really not hard to read. It's just about 220 pages, and again, it's a small book, so it's not that difficult. This book ended up being much different than I expected. Everybody was talking about it in terms of setting up boundaries and being vulnerable with people, opening up to people, and things like that. And so I was interested. However, once I started reading it, I found it to be disappointing. It didn't live up to my expectations. It's not like a self-help type of book, which is what I was expecting based on people's recommendations and the title and subtitle, which is Dropping the Act and Finding True Intimacy. It's actually more of a memoir and just this man's journey to finding true intimacy. And so there were good lessons learned along the way. Donald Miller is really good at telling story and telling his story in particular and crafting relatable points into it. However, this just didn't do anything for me. I gave it 3 stars. It was good, and I think if I was in a different place, then I would really relate to this more and get more out of it. But as it stood, I just... it was alright. There were a lot of things that I did like. Even if I didn't relate to it fully, there were things that I was like, oh, that's a really good point. Especially when he was talking about what he had learned in therapy about the inner self versus the outer self. How the inner self is who you really are, what you really believe, what you feel, the real you, and the outer self is just theater. That's what somebody tells him. The outer self is just theater. It's putting on a show. And how a lot of times we've just put on a costume and we go out and perform a play and we show off, you know, what we think people want to see or what we want people to see and not who we really are. And there's no real intimacy that happens there. We can't build real meaningful relationships if we're just a character in a play. We have to be able to shed that and be who we really are in order for people to really like us and connect with us. But he also works with a therapist and learns how somewhere along the line that little boy Donald learned, oh, people don't like me when I do that. People like me when I do this, so I'll do that when I'm with people. And so he learned that at an early age and just continued that into adulthood. But the problem was his inner self had grown, but that outer child self, that costume hadn't grown. And so every time he was going out to speak in front of people or in a group situation or meet new people or whatever, he was sending that scared little boy out to do all of his performing, and it was kind of ruining the authenticity of who he is and the reach that he could possibly have. So I thought that was a valid point. All the talk in there about self-esteem and everything, that was all really good too. I am very shy. I classify as INFJ, if you're interested in that. And so I do relate to it a little bit of, there's this true self part of me that kind of not many people get to see, or I'll just show parts of it to different people, and that's something I am working on, but I don't feel it to the extent that he felt it. And when it comes to relationships and things, I do get open with my people. So I didn't relate to where he was at in the book. He did have some valid points though that I appreciated, but going through it after and seeing the things that I had underlined and starred and all of that, most of what I had taken away from the book didn't even come from him. It came from the people in his life saying it to him. So I'm kind of torn about whether I liked this book or not, because it did have good things in it, but really it seemed more to me like a collection of these good things that he's learned with his story mixed in, and a lot of his unhealthy habits just told in a story form, and then, oh, all of a sudden they're healthy and married. And so it just didn't jive well with me. The whole relationship he and his now wife had, it felt off in this telling. I'm not saying that their marriage is off or anything like that. I'm just saying I felt like they were kind of unhealthy. And I know that was the point, that like he was an unhealthy person and she was a really healthy person, and she was part of the reason he got to be healthy. But even in his so-called healthy days, it didn't seem like a very healthy relationship that they had going on. The way it was portrayed in this book and the way that I read it and understood it, something just didn't settle right with me. So that being said, if you are someone who struggles with self-esteem, who struggles with putting on this character every time you're in front of other people, and you're looking to open up more to people, you want to be loved, you want to be accepted for who you are, this might be a valuable resource for you. I know countless people have read this book and loved it. Many in my online circles have really connected with this book, so I'm not going to say that it's totally useless. I'm just saying for me, it missed the mark, and I had some issues with a couple little things in there. Overall, there was good advice, and it is helping people, so that's good. But for me, it gets a 3 out of 5 stars. If you've read Scary Close, please let me know down below what you think. I would love to hear your thoughts on this book. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Were you somewhere in between? Did you have an issue with the relationship thingy? Did you think it was weird too? Or am I all alone in that? Let me know. Whatever your thoughts are, let me know down below. If you haven't read it, you have no desire to read it, then just say hi. Hi. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you have a fantastic week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.